Ajit Pawar and announced by Professor. Good evening. Thanks a lot for staying with us here at CNN News 18. You're watching Nation at 5 with me, Ridhima Bhatnagar. We're coming to you live from the newsrooms of CNN News 18. And the big story that we've been tracking all day has been the political turmoil that continues to escalate in Maharashtra. It's the uncle versus the nephew. Sharad Pawar and Ajit Pawar, those presented a show of strength in Maharashtra today. Both camps extremely confident of their performances, but they also took barbs at each other of what eventually led to the decision of Ajit Pawar deciding to join hands as far as the Maharashtra government is concerned. As of now, this is where the numbers stand. Upwards of 30, about 34 MLAs with Ajit Pawar and just 15 with Sharad Pawar. Remember, 36 is the magic number for Ajit Pawar if he wants to avoid the anti-defection law. Let's bring in our colleagues to try and understand what's happening in the ground. Mayuresh is joining us from YB Chavan Center. This is where the meeting for the Sharad Pawar camp happened, and he's been tracking those developments. Vinay is tracking developments as far as the Ajit Pawar camp is concerned. But Mayuresh, coming to you first. As of now, we're understanding the numbers are 34 for the nephew, Ajit Pawar, and just about 15 for Sharad Pawar. These numbers will not be making Sharad Pawar a very confident and happy man.
Absolutely, because right now there is no official confirmation, but what we have seen, or the leaders whom we have seen, the tally is somewhere around 16 plus 1. One is Devendra Bhuyar, who is an independent MLA and who has supported Sharad Pawar, or who has given support to Sharad Pawar. But there are prominent faces which have come, like if I take name like Jayant Patil, Anil Deshmukh, Mansingh Naik, Rohit Pawar, Rajendra Shingne, Ashok Pawar, Kiran Lamate, Balasaheb Patil, Suman Patil, Jitendra Awad, Chetan Tupe, Sunil Busara, Rajesh Tope, Sandeep Shirsagar, Makaran Patil. Daulat Daroda had extended support to Sharad Pawar, but he didn't come for this meeting. And last is Devendra Bhuyar, who is an independent I was talking. Also, 3 MPs, the Lok Sabha MPs also supported Sharad Pawar, Srinivas Patil, Supriya Sule and Amol Kole. And one Rajya Sabha MP, Fauzia Khan, has supported Sharad Pawar. So these people have turned up today, except Daulat Daroda, who didn't come, but he has extended his support. And Devendra Bhuyar, who is an independent MLA, who has supported Sharad Pawar.
Okay, Mayuresh, we'll just request you to stay on with us. Before we bring Vinaya in the conversation, let's listen into sound bites coming in from Ajit Pawar as well as Supriya Sule.
आजही माझं ते दैवत आहे, आजही माझं ते श्रद्धास्थान आहे. चूक मान्य करून दुरुस्त करून पुढे जाऊ. पण कुणा करता चाललं हे, कशा करता चाललं हे, का अशा प्रकारचं चित्र राज्यामध्ये निर्माण केलं जातं. काय आम्ही कुणाच्या पोटी जन्माला आलो नाही, ही चूक आहे आमची. हे सगळ्यांनी सांगितलं, वडीलधाऱ्यांनी सांगितलं, आणि त्याच्यातनं महाराष्ट्रात मध्ये नरेंद्र मोदी साहेबांच्या सारखं नेतृत्व देशामध्ये आहे, त्यांचा करिश्मा आहे.
की काही लोकांचं म्हणणं आहे की काही लोकांचं वय झालंय, त्याच्यामुळे त्यांनी फक्त आशीर्वाद द्यावे. का बरं आशीर्वाद द्यावे? रतन टाटा साहेबांपेक्षा 3 वर्षांनी मोठे आहेत. आजही टाटा ग्रुप पोट तिरकीनी लढतात, आणि सगळ्यात मोठा कुठला ग्रुप आहे आज देशात? टाटा ग्रुप आहे. त्याच्यानंतर सिरम इन्स्टिट्यूट घेतलं का नाही इंजेक्शन? सायरस पुनावालाचं वय काय? 84. साहेबांचे आणि पाटील काकांचे वयाचे आहेत, एका वर्गात होते सगळे. किती? 84. त्याच्यानंतर अमिताभ बच्चन, किती वय? 82. आज कुठली जाहिरात लागताना सगळ्यात पॉप्युलर नाम कोण आहे? अमिताभ बच्चन. वय किती? 82. त्याच्यानंतर इंग्रजीवाल्यांना माहिती आहे वॉरेन बफेट. अरे सबसे देखो तो फारूक अब्दुल्ला, साहेबांपेक्षा 3 वर्षांनी मोठे आहेत. मला विचारलं, अरे क्या हो रहा है एनसीपी में? म्हटलं अंकल ऐसे ऐसे हो रहा है. अरे लड़ मैं तो शरद से 3 साल बड़ा हूं, मैं लड़ रहा हूं, शरद को बोल मेरे तरह तू भी लड़ ले. अरे एजीचा नंबर जिद्द पाहिजे. आशीर्वाद तर आहेतच, पण आपल्या वडिलांना म्हणायचं की तुम्ही घरी बसा आणि आशीर्वाद घ्या.
राष्ट्रवादी काँग्रेस पक्ष इतकं व्यस्त आहे असं तुम्हाला वाटत असेल तर कालच्या शपथविधीमध्ये राष्ट्रवादी काँग्रेस पक्षाला का घेतलं बरोबर? तुमचं मंत्रिमंडळ कसं आहे, काय सांगायचं या संबंधीचं? महाराष्ट्रामध्ये काही लोकांनी बाजूला जायची भूमिका घेतली. माझी काही तक्रार नाही, मला दुःख आहे. कारण राष्ट्रवादी काँग्रेस पक्षाच्या कार्यकर्त्यांनी त्यांना विधिमंडळामध्ये आणण्याच्यासाठी मेहनत केली, कष्ट केले, घाम गाळला. त्यांच्या कष्टातून ते निवडून आले. संधी मिळाली विधिमंडळात जायची आणि ती ज्या कार्यकर्त्यांनी कष्ट करून ही चांगले दिवस आणले त्यांना विश्वासात न घेता, पक्षाला विश्वासात न घेता वेगळी भूमिका घ्यायची. त्यामुळे कोणी सांगत असेल की चिन्ह आम्ही घेऊन जाऊ, चिन्ह जाणार नाही, जाऊन देणार नाही.
There were big allegations that were made by Ajit Pawar when he was addressing his party karyakartas, in a way telling about the sequence of events of what really led to his decision of deciding to leave his uncle and join hands with the current Maharashtra government. Let's also now bring in our colleague Vinaya, who's been tracking developments as far as the Ajit Pawar camp is concerned. So Vinaya, neither of the camp is really coming out with an official number. They're keeping their cards close to their chest. But sources indicating to us here at CNN News 18 that the Ajit Pawar camp could have upwards of 30, about 34 MLAs, which means he's still too short as far as the magic number is concerned if he wants to avoid the anti-defection law. What are sources telling you?
Well, yes, Ridhima, as of now, sources within the NCP, Ajit Pawar faction tell us that there is the support of 34 MLAs plus 5 MLCs that Ajit Pawar enjoys. Now remember, 31 were present on stage. Two of them, Atul Benke and Saroj Ahire, left early because they had some engagements. Otherwise, NCP claims that some of the MLAs were stuck in traffic and that is why they could not come. Even as we are here at MET, where the meeting of the NCP MLAs, MLCs as well as the Paksha Karyakartas took place, we are seeing that all the MLAs and MLCs who have been huddled in the bus have been taken around a kilometer away from here to Taj Lands End, where a meeting is still going on. Basically, there will be several strategies now that Ajit Pawar group will have to figure out, Ridhima, because Sharad Pawar has made it amply clear that he is not giving the party symbol, he is not giving the party name, and it doesn't matter to him even if that goes away, but he is not going to give that away. This essentially means that just like the Shiv Sena, there will possibly be a long-drawn battle in front of the Election Commission, one, and in front of the Legislative Assembly Speaker. On the other hand, both the factions have approached the Speaker claiming that there is a certain leader of opposition and there is a certain chief whip, and those challenges will have to be dealt with by the Speaker as and how he finds it appropriate, which still means, when we had that conversation with the Speaker yesterday, he indicated that it was still a long-drawn process. So are we looking at any closure in the coming monsoon session of the Maharashtra Assembly? I don't think so. Are we looking at any closure in the coming few months? I don't think so. Meanwhile, both the leaders have very smartly taken this entire battle to the cadres and to the streets, very well knowing that it will be the public perception that will matter at the end of it. Back to you.
Oh, absolutely. Doesn't look like this is ending anytime soon. Vinay and Mayuresh, we'll request both of you to stay on with us. We're getting some breaking developments now coming in. Rohit Pawar has in fact spoken to us here at CNN News 18, and he's spoken about, given a response on the allegations that have been made against Sharad Pawar. He's gone on to say in 2019, Ajit Pawar and Sharad Pawar were both in that meeting with Devendra Fadnavis, and only both of them know what really transpired in that meeting. Let's listen in.
Thank you. Rohit sir, one small bite. After today's Shakti Pradarshan, we see that there have been several allegations to be leveled against Sharad Pawar by Ajit Pawar camp. We have with us Rohit Pawar. We speak to him and understand. Sir, Rohit sir, we see that there are several allegations to be leveled by Ajit Dada. He said that in 2019 Sharad Pawar was aware of everything that was happening, but he kept quiet after it. Sir, what do you have to say on that, sir?
To some extent, Pawar Sahib has answered those queries or those allegations, because whatever meeting must have happened, it happened between Ajit Dada and Pawar Sahib and few other leaders. Most of the leaders are on that side. So Pawar Sahib has explained his side and would explain his side again. So in that meeting we were not there. So it's difficult for us to say anything. We believe in Pawar Sahib and whatever he says and what he has worked for in last 60 years. So we will be with his thought process, we'll be with the Karyakartas, with the Padadikaris, and we have chosen a path which is not easy. But if you ask any person living in this country, their life is also not easy. They face a lot of challenges. Same way our family and our party is facing challenges. But through challenges, only we have to go ahead, we have to fight, and after we fight along with people, success would be our side.
So we've also seen that most of the people who spoke there said that at the age of 80, Sharad Pawar should retire. He should make way for Ajit Pawar, which is why he was not happy because he was not given a position despite working hard for the party.
See, if you see, as far as Pawar Sahib is concerned, when he was 82, that time, that is 2019, he went to every constituency in the state, and whatever Prachar Sabha happened, he participated in that. People waited to listen to him. And then after he went to each and every constituency, after that he went to Satara, there was this Sabha, and in that Sabha what happened, we all know. Because of that video itself, our vote share had increased from 3 to 7%. And when people were saying NCP would get only 15 seats, we came to 55. Congress would get not more than 15 again, they crossed 45. And then we saw a very different equation between our two parties and Shiv Sena. So Pawar Sahib is a hard-working guy. That time he was 82. This election, he would be 86. By heart, by his mind and spirit, he's still Sharad Pawar.
So, but we see the number game is very different. Right now, there are more than 30 MLAs who've gone with them. They've signed an affidavit there. Here, we did not see that many MLAs coming in, around 15 to 16, sir. What is the strategy further?
See, when the MLAs go in their constituency, they should tell people that they have not come in power or they have not been elected because of Pawar Sahib. They won't be able to say that. So now the MLAs are already elected. They may be there, could be because of some pressure. But in a few days, many more would come this side because they know they have to get re-elected. And they can't get re-elected without support of the people. And if you ask any citizen in this state what they feel about this coup, what happened in case of NCP, they're totally against BJP and what happened with Rashtravadi. So we all are confident with the help of people and Karyakartas going forward, we will fight and we'll win.
So there you heard from Rohit Pawar. He was speaking exclusively to us here at CNN News 18. He, of course, is an MLA as far as the Sharad Pawar camp is concerned. He's gone on to say they're still extremely confident as far as Sharad Pawar is concerned. He's saying all these MLAs who've gone with Ajit Pawar possibly could have been forced. The Sharad Pawar camp still feeling that many of these MLAs will now in fact come back. They're also saying that Sharad Pawar will in fact take a tour of Maharashtra, and then you'll see the kind of support and loyalists that continue to be with Sharad Pawar. So as we said, with each passing minute, the turmoil in Maharashtra only escalating. This is what sources are telling us. This is how the numbers currently look. About 34 MLAs currently with Ajit Pawar and about 11 and 12 with Sharad Pawar. 36 is the magic number that Ajit Pawar needs if he needs to avoid the anti-defection law. But there you just heard from Rohit Pawar speaking to us here at CNN News 18. He has gone on to say that we feel all these MLAs who've gone with Ajit Pawar possibly were forced, but we're not losing our heart because we feel many of them, in fact, will come back because that is the kind of love and support that Sharad Pawar still enjoys. Let's also now bring in our colleague Yesha Kotak, who in fact is now joining us on the broadcast. Yesha, in fact, had that exclusive conversation with Rohit Pawar. So Yesha, the Sharad Pawar camp still not losing hope. They're saying, yes, our numbers are less as of now, but we're not losing hope because we feel many of these MLAs are forced and they in fact will come back.
Yes, in fact, this development has come in even as we saw a very strong statement coming in by Ajit Pawar, right from attacking Sharad Pawar on various issues, because we saw that there was discontent brewing by Ajit Pawar ever since the last few weeks. This was something that was very obvious, but despite that, today on record, Ajit Pawar, who's been saying it quite often that it is in the welfare of the future, that he's considering the 2024 election, which is where he has decided to switch stance. And here he also questions Sharad Pawar about some of the instances that happened, right from appointing Supriya Sule as the working president to also when he resigned as a position. He feels that he is the one who's the future of the party, and it is he who should give him a relevant position. This, in fact, is an epic fight of what we see is that of old forces versus new forces. This is what has come out right now, and in fact, going further, we see that all those who were with Ajit Pawar camp have now been moved to a hotel. This is something that we've seen taking place exactly a year back in Maharashtra. Same thing is happening with NCP, but when it was Rohit Pawar who was questioned about this, saying how is it that NCP is seeing the same repeat of what happened with Shiv Sena a year back. Let us understand that last year in MVA it was Shiv Sena and NCP who were together as a coalition partner. In fact, with Sharad Pawar's experience, it was expected that he would have known about what was happening with Shiv Sena. But right now, looking at this instance that is happening here, it becomes very obvious that those people who had gone, Sharad Pawar might have known of it. In fact, we saw that it was he himself who said that he sent Chhagan Bhujbal to go and speak to them, to convince them. But that really did not happen, and Chhagan Bhujbal also crossed over there. Speaking of Chhagan Bhujbal, we had seen that when Ajit Pawar had said that he didn't want to be, he wanted to be the president, so Chhagan Bhujbal had seconded him. Yes.
Yesha, we'll just request you to stay on with us because now we're getting some breaking developments coming in. And this entire political turmoil in Maharashtra has now taken a legal turn because now we're understanding the Ajit Pawar camp has in fact moved the Election Commission as far as the party symbol is concerned. This is what we're hearing from the camp of Ajit Pawar, that since the party, the NCP, is now divided, the Election Commission to take a final call as far as the party symbol is concerned. So as we pointed out, this political turmoil now taking a legal turn. Let's also now bring in our colleague Ashutosh Patil, in fact, is now joining us on the broadcast to give us more details. Ashutosh, क्या जानकारी है आपके पास?
इस वक्त महाराष्ट्र की राजनीति से बड़ी खबर आ रही है। अजित पवार ने जो बगावत की थी 2 दिन पहले, उसके पहले ही मतलब शुक्रवार के दिन उन्होंने इलेक्शन कमीशन को ये खत लिख के बताया था कि वही राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष रहेंगे राष्ट्रवादी कांग्रेस के, और उनके समर्थन में उन्होंने 41 विधायकों के पत्र भी दिया है इलेक्शन कमीशन को। ये बहुत बड़ी खबर है। अजित पवार ने अपनी पार्टी शरद पवार को छोड़ जाने के पहले ही ये दावा किया था, तो अब इलेक्शन कमीशन के सामने ये निर्णय लेना होगा कि क्या वो अजित पवार का दावा सच मान। दोनों चाचा भतीजा में ये जो राजनीति चल रही है महाराष्ट्र से जुड़ी है, सबसे बड़ी खबर आप देख रहे हो कि अगर राजनीति में अगर इलेक्शन कमीशन ने ये दावा अगर मान्य कर लिया तो अजित पवार के हाथ राष्ट्रवादी की कमान जा सकती है।
जी आशुतोष, जैसे आप सही बता रहे हैं, काफ़ी बड़ी खबर है और ऐसा ही कुछ हमने 1 साल पहले भी देखा था जब एकनाथ शिंदे और उद्धव ठाकरे के बीच में पार्टी सिंबल को लेकर ये पूरी टकरार कोर्ट्स पहुंची थी। तो अब ऐसा लग रहा है कि ये जो पॉलिटिकल बैटल है उसने एक पूरा लीगल टर्न ले लिया है और ये काफ़ी जल्द ख़त्म नहीं होने वाली है।
बिल्कुल, ये जंग जारी रहेगी। जो एकनाथ शिंदे ने 1 साल पहले किया था और उनके बाद उनके विधायकों पे जो कैंसिलेशन की उनकी जो तलवार लटक रही थी, तो ये गलती अब इन्होंने संभाली है। अब एनसीपी की तरफ से पहले ही एक स्टेप आगे बढ़ गए हैं। अब देखना ये है कि इससे क्या होगा। आज दोनों शरद पवार गुट और अजित पवार गुट दोनों ने अपने विधायकों का मीटिंग बुलाई थी, एक बहुत बड़ी रैली मुंबई में दोनों तरफ से हुई और दोनों ने एक दूसरे पे निशाना साधा है। अजित पवार ने शरद पवार पे निशाना साधते हुए सीधे तरह से कहा है, अब आपकी उम्र 82 साल की हुई है, अब आपको रुकना चाहिए। और वही सुप्रिया सुले ने अजित पवार के ऊपर प्रहार किया है कि उन्होंने दाखिले दिए हैं कि अमिताभ बच्चन हो या पूनावाला हो या रतन टाटा हो, ऐसे लोग जो 80 साल से भी उम्र के बड़े हैं, अगर वो अभी भी सक्रिय में है तो क्यों आप शरद पवार जैसे बुजुर्ग व्यक्ति को घर बिठाना चाहते हैं? वो कोई घर बैठेगी नहीं। आज भी उनमें हिम्मत है पक्ष नए तरीके से खड़ा करने की।
जी आशुतोष, we'll have to leave that conversation there. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए. Let's go back to our colleagues who continue to track all these developments for us. Vinaya continues to be with us. Mayuresh, he's tracking developments of the Sharad Pawar camp. Yesha also now joining us on the broadcast. Vinaya, coming back to you, this is something that we were discussing a short while ago as well. This entire political battle has already taken a legal turn. You're seeing the camp of Ajit Pawar move the election commission saying the party is divided, so you take a call as far as the party symbol and the hold of the party is concerned. Talk to us about the kind of groundwork that is already being laid by camp Ajit Pawar. They're still too short as far as the majority figure or the safe figure for them is concerned, but what are the kind of conversations, groundwork that is already being laid by them to ensure that they can avoid the anti-defection law?
Well, what you're learning is that with respect to the paperwork, Ajit Pawar group says that it already has the letters of signatures of the MLAs required to avoid the anti-defection law. And that is what it says, that even if all those MLAs were not present here today, these MLAs, their signatures and their letters are present with the NCP. What is interesting is that when the governor was given a letter, and this is what Praful Patel said in his interview yesterday, that it wasn't a list of MLAs along with their signatures that was given really. So it was just a letter that Ajit Pawar gave to the governor that was considered as a letter of support, and after which Ajit Pawar came up on board as part of the government. If that is the case, then it really is the repeat of the Shiv Sena saga, where we saw that the governor was satisfied with whatever was given to him, and till the end the details of those letters did not really come out. But this is an important piece of information. So in case there is no number that has been given, and yet Ajit Pawar claims he has the majority, his group says that the letters of support are already present with him, and as far as sources are to be believed, he says that for around 42 MLAs have already given out letters of support to Ajit Pawar. If that is the case, then that clearly goes, that takes him into the safe waters. Anti-defection law may not apply. But Ridhima, whatever it is, this is still in extremely formative stages as of now, even as there are developments that are happening through back channel talks as well, and through legislative means as well. It still will take some time for everyone to ensure
that they can get more MLAs on their stand to try and consolidate their position. Vinaya, we'll just request you to stay on with us. Let's bring Mayuresh also in the conversation. Mayuresh, big allegations that came from the camp of Ajit Pawar, specifically from the man himself when he was speaking to the party workers. He in fact took a taunt against his uncle and said, "You're 83, why haven't you retired?" The other big allegation that came against Sharad Pawar is that when he had taken a decision to step back and the party was okay with Supriya Sule being elevated, then what really changed in those 48 hours? That's a question that's being raised by many, including the likes of Ajit Pawar. Is there a response coming to that from the Sharad Pawar camp?
Absolutely, Sharad Pawar camp is basically not responding to these personal allegations, but what we have seen, the important point which Ajit Pawar today revealed is of 2019, what exactly happened in that early morning swearing in, and why that early morning swearing in happened. Because if you remember, till date, Ajit Pawar, many reporters, many journalists have asked Ajit Pawar about that particular issue, and Ajit Pawar has clearly said that I will not speak. When the time will come, that time only I will speak about this particular issue. But today we saw kind of a war of words between uncle and nephew, where nephew level allegations against uncle for suppressing his political career. Not only that, Ajit Pawar also way back in 2004 when NCP had won with a good majority, and they won with a somewhere around 76 seats, and that time Congress was having a less seats, but he leveled an allegation against his uncle that we compromised on 4 extra portfolio or additional portfolios and we didn't take that CM post. Why did we do that? If we would have not taken that decision, then the first NCP chief minister Maharashtra state could have got. So certainly these kind of allegations from history he has leveled against his own uncle.
True. Yeah, Mayuresh will just request you to stay on with us. Let's bring Yesha also in the conversation. Yesha, while both the camps are still trying to consolidate their position, I want to speak to you specifically as far as the Shinde faction is concerned, because it looks like there is a lot of unease within the Shinde faction as well. MLAs are now speaking out saying that we in fact were thinking this is our turn. We'll get meteor roles when there is a cabinet expansion that takes place. Now with the NCP coming, we feel that our chance will never come. What is the word that you're picking up from sources within the Shinde faction? Because the pressure will now be on the Chief Minister to try and strike that perfect balance.
Yes, and it was in fact something that was well expected and being predicted even when the swearing-in took place on Sunday. This was something because over the last few weeks there was a constant discussion that there'll be a cabinet expansion wherein the Shinde faction would be getting some roles. But now, because we see that clearly, even Ajit Pawar had mentioned that it'll be these people, the 9 MLAs who've been sworn in, they'll be given relevant positions, which is where there are several MLAs from the Eknath Shinde camp who are not happy with it. And now there's a meeting that will be held later in the evening by these people. The discussion will be held on these lines. And apart from that, we've also seen that before this, when it was Shinde faction which was moving out of Shiv Sena, they had said that it was Ajit Pawar who was not letting them work well. Now the equations are clearly torn, and we are seeing a discontent brewing amidst their faction as well. Yes.
Okay. I'll just request all our colleagues to stay on with us. Yesha, Vinaya and Mayuresh. We're now getting a reaction coming in from Prithviraj Chavan as well, who's spoken to us here at Network 18. Let's listen in.
अब महाविकास आघाड़ी का भविष्य क्या लग रहा है आपको?
महाविकास आघाड़ी बिल्कुल इंटैक्ट है. 1-2 नेता चले गए हैं. पवार साहब हमारे साथ है, कांग्रेस हम स्ट्रांगली लड़ रहे हैं, उद्धव जी का ग्रुप अपने हमारे साथ है. तो कुछ 2-4 लोकसभा कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसीज में थोड़ा फर्क जरूर पड़ेगा. एक 20-25 असेंबली कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी में फर्क पड़ेगा. ये आज की स्थिति है और मैं समझता हूं जैसे पवार साहब बाहर निकलेंगे ये सब लोग बिखर जाएंगे. तो महाविकास आघाड़ी पे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. उल्टा कांग्रेस की और स्पेस बढ़ने के आसार है और हम ताकत से लड़ेंगे और इस बदलाव से कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. हाँ, जो हमने सुना है कि शिंदे जी को हटा के अजीत पवार को मुख्यमंत्री बनाने की बात चल रही है, अगर वो करेंगे तो शायद कुछ और एमएलए राष्ट्रवादी से जो अभी पवार साहब के पास है इनके साथ जुड़ सकते हैं. लेकिन अगर वो नहीं किया तो जैसे ही पवार साहब बाहर निकल पड़ेंगे तो ये अजीत पवार के साथ आज जो एमएलए दिख रहे हैं उनके कई सारे लोग वापस जाएंगे, क्योंकि ये एमएलए जब अपने क्षेत्र के लोगों से, अपने कार्यकर्ताओं से बात कर रहे हैं तो उनको असलियत का पता चल रहा है. देखिए, पवार साहब के लिए बहुत सारी सहानुभूति तैयार हुई है. पवार साहब ने अपने 50-60 साल के राजनीतिक जीवन में इन सब लोगों को जीरो से उठाकर नेता बनाया है. अब उन्होंने पवार साहब के पीठ में खंजर खोपा है तो क्या लोग उनको माफ करेंगे? तो देखिए, अभी तो बीजेपी कितना डेस्परेट है, जिसके लिए एक हफ्ते पहले मोदी जी 70,000 करोड़ का घोटाला, सिंचन घोटाला, राज्य सहकारिता बैंक का घोटाले की बात कर रहे थे भोपाल में पिछले हफ्ते, उन्हीं को आपने उप मुख्यमंत्री बनाया और मुख्यमंत्री बनाने की बात कर रहे हैं.
Well, we'll continue to track all those developments. There's a lot happening as far as politics of Maharashtra is concerned. Time for us to slip into a very short break. Don't go anywhere. We're coming back with lots more.
For a law like polygamy, because the Muslim community is the only community that legally can indulge in polygamy. Do you think we still need laws like that?
So I challenge Modi and the BJP that kindly give me names of 10 Muslims
who have married 4 times. This is
but that
nothing
doesn't
but
matter,
to
sir.
blame the community for that
Even
purpose.
if, let's say, even if offences when it comes to a certain law are low, that doesn't mean you should still have the law endorsing it, right? Do away with
I
the
would
law.
like
If
Mr.
it's
Modi-
anyway low, do away with the law. Why have a law?
I would like Mr. Modi to implement a uniform code on the hate speeches.
Right.
Let there be a uniform law during the course
Sorry,
of
I'm sorry to interrupt, Mr. Pathan. We're also joined by A.
Sarvanan
Sarvanan of the DMK as well as Kovai Satyan of the AIDMK. Mr. Satyan, I'll come to you first. What is your reasoning for opposing the Uniform Civil Code? That pitch coming in from Edapadi Palaniswamy that they will not stand in support of the Uniform Civil Code.
Beloved leader Purja Talavi Amma, from that time, even on 2019 parliamentary election, it is there in our manifesto. The reason cited is there are religious freedom based on the belief, religious belief each and every section has, particularly the minority section has. So a uniform civil code has to take those into account, and it has to be accordingly not affecting the religious freedom and the rights of minorities.
Right. So are you open to a discussion to have a version of the Uniform Civil Code which you feel protects minority rights? Or are you completely opposing any form of the Uniform Civil Code?
That has to come from the center.
That has to come from the center.
Whatever the status quo of the sector today is what our decision is.
Right. Right. So you're
reach
open
has to
to
come
discussion
from the
when it
center.
comes to the Uniform Civil
No,
Code?
I am saying the reach has to come from the center and our leader will take a call on the same.
Absolutely. AIA-DMK saying that they do not support the Uniform Civil Code. Now let's listen in to AIA-DMK Chief Edapadi Palaniswamy.
ஏற்கனவே 2019 நாடாளுமன்ற தேர்தலில் எங்களுடைய அனைத்து இந்திய அண்ணா திராவிட முன்னேற்ற கழகத்தினுடைய தேர்தல் அறிக்கையில படிச்சு பாருங்க, அதுல தெளிவா கொடுத்திருக்கிறோம். ஏற்கனவே 2019 நாடாளுமன்ற தேர்தலில் எங்களுடைய அனைத்து இந்திய அண்ணா திராவிட முன்னேற்ற கழகத்தினுடைய தேர்தல் அறிக்கையில படிச்சு பாருங்க, அதுல தெளிவா கொடுத்திருக்கிறோம்.
Right. So when it comes to the BJP gathering support for the Uniform Civil Code, the AIDMK has made it clear that they are out. They do not support the Uniform Civil Code. This also coming after the DMK also made its stand clear, saying that they do not support the Uniform Civil Code, accusing the BJP of spreading polarization politics when it comes to the road to 2024, saying that this is nothing more than a political pitch. Now, the AIDMK says that they do not support the Uniform Civil Code. A huge blow to the BJP when it comes to gathering support for the UCC and its rollout. But Tamil Nadu, there seems to be political consensus on both sides of the aisle that there is no support for the Uniform Civil Code. The AIDMK making it clear that they do not support the BJP's pitch to roll out the Uniform Civil Code. But EPS not saying anything more than that, while the DMK has made it clear that the BJP's pitch for a Uniform Civil Code is nothing more than a political message on the road to 2024 to polarize society and to polarize the voters. But now the AIDMK also making it clear that they do not support the Uniform Civil Code on the road to 2024. They are saying that when it comes to the UCC, there is no way that they are supporting it, because in their opinion it is not conducive to society. And the DMK also went a step ahead and accused the BJP of polarization politics. So that pitch coming in from the AIDMK. I'm joined by my colleague Pallavi Ghosh on the broadcast. Pallavi, so the BJP's ally, the AIDMK, not backing the Uniform Civil Code when it comes to gathering support for the passage of any version of a Uniform Civil Code law. This is a huge setback for the BJP.
Yes, the government's calculation that it's not in the monsoon session, at least in the winter session, would want to bring in this bill. But I think the Prime Minister also set the cat among the pigeons so that at least a discussion begins on this entire topic. And it is something which can also be used selectively by the BJP depending on its core vote bank. The fact is that contrary to the perception that the UCC is going to affect one particular minority community, there have been reservations which have been expressed that the tribes, for example, a tribal community, they too also get affected. And those are the grounds on which the AIADMK has also shown its objection. Now, in Lok Sabha, the government has no problem, but really, Ayushman, the problem is actually in Rajya Sabha, where the numbers are still not completely high in terms of with the government or with the BJP, and therefore, every little bit of support would have mattered. And you're absolutely right. An AIADMK stringently opposing UCC will certainly be seen as a setback to the government's plans to try and bring in the bill as soon as possible.
Absolutely, Pallavi, and it's the hiccup over beyond the Muslim personal laws. It's a hiccup when it comes to the laws governing tribal communities in the country. And the BJP is clearly going to face that same hiccup when it comes to trying to push this entire UCC agenda through the Northeast, because several northeastern communities are dominated by those by personal laws which kind of protect their customs. And as the BJP has that base in the Northeast, this is certainly going to be a hiccup for them.
Well, not just the Northeast. Pockets of Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh
Right.
too.
I'm sorry, Pallavi. I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm joined by Varis Pathan on the broadcast, AIMIM leader. Thank you, Mr. Pathan, for joining us on CNN News 18. The AIDMK has now come out against the Uniform Civil Code. You, of course, have made that pitch that you stand against the rollout of the Uniform Civil Code. But at the same time, don't you think it's time for one nation, one law as a concept to roll out across India in the 21st century?
Well, I have been saying, and again reiterated and said that the UCC is not required in the country. In 2018 itself, the Law Commission has made it clear that the UCC does not required by the country. And there should be no discussion on it for the last 10 years. So what is the need? What is the urgency? If the government was so much serious and if they felt that the uniform civil law should be implemented for equally to everybody, then what prevented the government from implementing it in the last 9 years? They had all the facilities with them. They were in power. They had the majority of MPs with them. But no, this is just polarizing tactics which is the BJP using prior to the 2024 elections. As they know, they are losing this election, and so.
Welcome back. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You continue to watch Nation at 5 with me, Ridhima Bhatnagar. Let's talk about the other big story that we're tracking this evening, which is the fireworks around the debate of the implementation of UCC or a Uniform Civil Code and whether India is ready for it. Now you have the Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar, who's also stepped into this debate, and he's gone on to categorically say, mincing no words, that if you delay the implementation or bringing in UCC, that will be corrosive for India. He's also gone on to say that people who are opposing the UCC are anti-India forces. Politically speaking, more reactions coming in. This is an interesting one. The AIADMK, an ally of the BJP in Tamil Nadu, has now gone on to say that they're not okay with the UCC in principle. We'll get in a colleague to talk about what this means as far as the challenges for implementing UCC is concerned. Let's listen in to some reactions first.
Now I can tell you, after 30 years, I'm sure that situation must have come. I have no doubt it has come. Any further delay in implementation of Uniform Civil Code will be corrosive of our values. The underlying sublimity of it has to be appreciated and understood. This will bind Bharat, its nationalism, more effectively, and that was the thought process of founding fathers of the Constitution.
ஏற்கனவே 2019 நாடாளுமன்ற தேர்தலில் எங்களுடைய அனைத்து இந்திய அண்ணா திராவிட முன்னேற்ற கழகத்தினுடைய தேர்தல் அறிக்கையில படிச்சு பாருங்க, அதுல தெளிவா கொடுத்திருக்கிறோம். ஏற்கனவே 2019 நாடாளுமன்ற தேர்தலில் எங்களுடைய அனைத்து இந்திய அண்ணா திராவிட முன்னேற்ற கழகத்தினுடைய தேர்தல் அறிக்கையில படிச்சு பாருங்க, அதுல தெளிவா கொடுத்திருக்கிறோம்.
तो मेरी अपनी राय यही है कि मुस्लिम पर्सनल लॉ हमारी शरीयत का अटूट हिस्सा है और शरीयत की जड़ और बुनियाद कुरान और हदीस है और हर मुसलमान के लिए लाजमी और ज़रूरी है कि कुरान और हदीस के अहकामात पर अमल करें। हम सबका यही मानना है कि अपने इस मुल्क में हम सबको अपने अपने मज़हब पर अपने रोज़मर्रा की ज़िंदगी में जो अमल करने की आज़ादी है वो आज़ादी बरकरार रहनी चाहिए। लिहाजा मुल्क में किसी भी किस्म का कोई भी UCC की ना पहले ज़रूरत थी और ना आज है। और इससे पहले भी ये बात कही जा चुकी है कि UCC का मसला सिर्फ मुसलमानों का नहीं है बल्कि तमाम कम्युनिटीज़ से रिलेटेड ये मसला है।
Let's also now bring in our colleague Payal Mehta, who in fact is now standing by. Payal, one of the most interesting reactions that are now coming in from the AIADMK, this becomes problematic because they're an ally as far as the BJP is concerned in Tamil Nadu. They've minced no words. They're saying we're against the implementation of UCC, which is now raising the question, can we even get a consensus as far as UCC is concerned?
Well, Ridhima, to say that the BJP did not know that parties like the AIADMK or the NPP, for that matter, Conrad Sanger's party, would oppose this bill, or certain parties in the northeast to oppose this bill, wouldn't really be surprising as far as the BJP is concerned, because the BJP will understand their stand as well. But there are certain concerns that political parties and political units have been having, and that's one of the reasons the government has been telling them that wait for the bill to be drafted, wait for the draft to come out, wait for the consultations to get over. Why jump the ship right now? The Prime Minister has said that this is a vast country. In fact, the Vice President of the country has come out and said that this is a need of the hour. The Vice President is also chairman of the Rajya Sabha as well, so he's come out and spoken about these issues as well. But yes, I'm sure the BJP will be working those back channel talks, will be working those phone lines to convince at least their allies to come on board, because like we've been reporting constantly, Ridhima, that even if the BJP is able to pass this bill in the Lok Sabha where they have overwhelming majority, Rajya Sabha will still be a problem, because this will be a constitutional amendment, and constitutional amendment needs you to pass the bill by 2/3 of majority. So that's where the BJP obviously will be looking at it as well. One important thing will be to see when they bring the bill, because the monsoon session bringing the bill looks very, very unlikely, because today we're looking at the 5th and probably 15 days more to go, and the consultation process by the Law Commission only gets over on the 13th of the month. So within 7 days time, can the government actually look at bringing a bill? That looks pretty unlikely. So they'll have to time themselves and give themselves enough time, but the government is assured people constantly at multiple levels that consultations will happen. Everybody's fears will be allayed before actually anything really happens, including the fears being allayed in the minds of the tribals and people in the northeast and certain communities that have spoken about the details.
Payal, I just want to talk to you about the timing of when these discussions are taking place as far as the implementation of UCC is concerned. One of the criticisms that's coming in from the opposition is exactly this. They're questioning the timing and the intent of the government. They're saying it's way too close before the 2024 general elections. All of this is just a poll gimmick.
Well, yes, the opposition parties certainly have said this in as many words, even in the committee meeting when they were sitting there discussing the bill with Sushil Modi, who is of course a BJP Rajya Sabha MP, clearly stating that they hope that this was not a poll issue. In fact, even an ex-ally of the BJP, which is the Shiv Sena, which is the Uddhav faction, Sanjay Raut himself had said that in principle they're not opposed to the bill, but they're scared that this is going to become a poll issue as well. So that is something which the opposition parties are naturally raising, but anybody who knows the BJP and the RSS is not really surprised. This was part of the poll manifesto in 2014. This was part of the poll manifesto in 2019. Of course, it gathered a lot of pace given the fact that the Prime Minister himself spoke about it in one of these election-bound states as well. So the timing of bringing the bill will be extremely critical as well. It will be very important to see how the BJP is able to take that really forward, probably just get the bill in the winter session of Parliament. That looks like the only likely situation, given the fact that the budget session of Parliament, which happens just before the general elections next year, is merely a formality, because you just pass the interim budget in that particular session, which is a very brief affair.
Right. Payal, we'll just request you to stay on with us. We're getting some other reactions coming in. Let's try and listen in.
सर, विपक्ष कह रहा है कि आप ट्राइबल्स के खिलाफ ला रहे हैं ये बिल, आप नॉर्थ ईस्ट के राज्यों के खिलाफ ला रहे हैं। ये कई मेंबर्स ने पार्लियामेंट्री कमेटी में कल इस सवाल को उठाया है।
नॉर्थ ईस्ट की बहनें, 7 सिस्टर्स हमारी बहनें हैं, और भारत में बहन अगर दुखी है तो भाई कभी खुश हो नहीं सकता। भारतीय जनता पार्टी पर सर्वाधिक ट्राइबल एमएलए, एमपी, एमएलसी, राज्यसभा, इवन भारत सरकार में मंत्री हैं। इसलिए आदिवासी समुदाय, और आप ऐसे ही लगा लो कि हमारी प्रथम नागरिक हमारी राष्ट्रपति महोदया स्वयं ट्राइबल समुदाय से आती हैं, तो ये तो कहो ही नहीं कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी ट्राइबल विरोधी है। उनके हितों का फिर लॉ कमीशन ने सबसे राय मांगी है, तो जब अभी कोई शेप नहीं लिया है तो ये विरोध के लिए विरोध करना ही सिद्ध हो रहा है, क्योंकि अभी कोई चीज़ आई नहीं है। अभी तो लॉ कमीशन ने कहा भी है सब धार्मिक संगठनों से, राजनीतिक पार्टियों से कि सुझाव दें।
सर, आप लंबे टाइम तक राजनीति में भी रहे हैं, आप पुलिस में भी रहे हैं, आप कई सारे महकमों में रहे हैं। विपक्ष ये कह रहा है कि 24 के इलेक्शन को देखकर आप ये बिल क्यों ला रहे हैं? आपकी मंशा है इलेक्शन आने वाला।
मोदी जी राष्ट्र हित में और गरीब हित में निर्णय लेते हैं, वो इलेक्शन की पूर्व संध्या हो या इलेक्शन निपटा हो। 24 में जिस दिन मोदी जी शपथ लेंगे उसके अगले दिन की अगली पहली कैबिनेट में भी निर्णय लेंगे, जबकि इलेक्शन 29 में होगा। तो इसको चुनाव से ना माना जाए। ये राजनीतिक सरकारों के कर्तव्य होते हैं कि वो राष्ट्र हित में, जनहित में, गरीब हित में, देश की एकता, अखंडता, भाईचारा के लिए निरंतर अपने कानून बनाते हैं।
Let's continue the conversation with our colleague Payal, who continues to be with us. Payal, the other criticism that continues to be reiterated by various opposition parties is that this is against the essential fabric of what India represents. This is going to be against minorities. What is the kind of outreach that we're seeing by the government to try and allay these concerns?
Well, as of now, the government has not really started its outreach. They were probably testing the waters, over the last couple of years, and that's one of the reasons that every poll-bound state, which is of course won by the BJP, one of the promises was to implement UCC, whether it is Gujarat, whether it is Uttarakhand or any other state as well. But you've seen that this has reached a certain stage as far as Uttarakhand is concerned. They probably have come to a draft of sorts, which they have been in fact discussed. Pushkar Singh Dhami in fact discussed this with the Prime Minister and of course with the Home Minister as well. So the BJP is testing waters as far as that is concerned. But obviously, like I've been saying, that this is no surprise for anybody because the BJP has been wearing it on its sleeve. The RSS has been speaking about it at multiple levels as well. The argument of the government, and in fact last week when I managed to speak to the Law Minister, he also said that everything is being done as per the provisions of the Constitution. So essentially they had said that Article 44 of the Constitution guarantees this as well. This has been articulated yesterday in Guwahati by the Vice President of India and the Chairman of the Rajya Sabha, where he was also making a statement. He's saying that people should not be misled and people should actually understand what the Constitution provides for. And for any government which comes into power, their job is to make laws, and they should continue to make laws because that's exactly what the Constitution provides them to do.
Okay, Payal, we'll have to unfortunately leave that conversation there. Thanks a lot for getting us all those details. We'll continue to track all these developments and a lot more. For now, we're slipping into a very short break. Don't go anywhere.
Rights of minorities.
Right. So are you open to a discussion to have a version of the Uniform Civil Code which you feel protects minority rights? Or are you completely opposing any form of the Uniform Civil Code?
That has to come from the center.
That has to come from the center.
Whatever the status quo of the center today is what our decision is.
Right. Right. So you're open to discussion when it comes to the Uniform Civil Code?
No, I'm saying the reach has to come from the center and our leader will take a call on the same.
Absolutely. AIA-DMK is saying that they do not support the Uniform Civil Code. Now let's listen in to AIA-DMK Chief Edappadi Palaniswamy.
ஏற்கனவே 2019 நாடாளுமன்ற தேர்தலில் எங்களுடைய அனைத்து இந்திய அண்ணா திராவிட முன்னேற்ற கழகத்தினுடைய தேர்தல் அறிக்கையில படிச்சு பாருங்க, அதுல தெளிவா கொடுத்திருக்கிறோம். ஏற்கனவே 2019 நாடாளுமன்ற தேர்தலில் எங்களுடைய அனைத்து இந்திய அண்ணா திராவிட முன்னேற்ற கழகத்தினுடைய தேர்தல் அறிக்கையில படிச்சு பாருங்க, அதுல தெளிவா கொடுத்திருக்கிறோம்.
Right. So when it comes to the BJP gathering support for the Uniform Civil Code, the AIDMK has made it clear that they are out. They do not support the Uniform Civil Code. This also coming after the DMK also made its stand clear, saying that they do not support the Uniform Civil Code, accusing the BJP of spreading polarization politics when it comes to the road to 2024, saying that this is nothing more than a political pitch. Now, the AIDMK says that they do not support the Uniform Civil Code. A huge blow to the BJP when it comes to gathering support for the UCC and its rollout. But Tamil Nadu, there seems to be political consensus on both sides of the aisle that there is no support for the Uniform Civil Code. The AIDMK making it clear that they do not support the BJP's pitch to roll out the Uniform Civil Code. But EPS not saying anything more than that, while the DMK has made it clear that the BJP's pitch for a Uniform Civil Code is nothing more than a political message on the road to 2024 to polarize society and to polarize the voters. But now the AIDMK also making it clear that they do not support the Uniform Civil Code on the road to 2024. They are saying that when it comes to the UCC, there is no way that they are supporting it, because in their opinion it is not conducive to society. And the DMK also went a step ahead and accused the BJP of polarization politics. So that pitch coming in from the AIDMK. I'm joined by my colleague Pallavi Ghosh on the broadcast. Pallavi, so the BJP's ally, the AIDMK, not backing the Uniform Civil Code when it comes to gathering support for the passage of any version of a uniform civil code law. This is a huge setback for the BJP.
Yes, the government's calculation that it's not in the monsoon session, at least in the winter session, would want to bring in this bill. But I think the Prime Minister also set the cat among the pigeons so that at least a discussion begins on this entire topic. And it is something which can also be used selectively by the BJP depending on its core vote bank. The fact is that contrary to the perception that the UCC is going to affect one particular minority community, there have been reservations which have been expressed that the tribes, for example, a tribal community, they too also get affected. And those are the grounds on which the AIADMK has also shown its objection. Now, in Lok Sabha, the government has no problem, but really, Ayushman, the problem is actually in Rajya Sabha, where the numbers are still not completely high in terms of with the government or with the BJP, and therefore, every little bit of support would have mattered. And you're absolutely right, an AIADMK stringently opposing UCC will certainly be seen as a setback to the government's plans to try and bring in the bill as soon as possible.
Absolutely, Pallavi, and it's the hiccup over beyond the Muslim personal laws. It's a hiccup when it comes to the laws governing tribal communities in the country. And the BJP is clearly going to face that same hiccup when it comes to trying to push this entire UCC agenda through the Northeast, because several northeastern communities are dominated by those by personal laws which kind of protect their customs. And as the BJP has that base in the Northeast, this is certainly going to be a hiccup for them.
Well, not just the Northeast. Pockets of Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh
right.
too.
I'm sorry, Pallavi. I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm joined by Varis Pathan on the broadcast, AIMIM leader. Thank you, Mr. Pathan, for joining us on CNN News 18. The AIDMK has now come out against the Uniform Civil Code. You, of course, have made that pitch that you stand against the rollout of the Uniform Civil Code. But at the same time, don't you think it's time for one nation, one law as a concept to roll out across India in the 21st century?
Well, I've been saying, and again reiterate and say that the UCC is not required in the country. In 2018 itself, the Law Commission has made it clear that the UCC does not required by the country. And there should be no discussion on it for the last 10 years. So what is the need? What is the urgency? If the government was so much serious and if they felt that the uniform civil law should be implemented for equally to everybody, then what prevented the government from implementing it in the last 9 years? They had all the facilities with them. They were in power. They had the majority of MPs with them. But no, this is just polarizing tactics which is the BJP using prior to the 2024 elections. As they know, they are losing this election. And so Modi, after coming from US, wherein he was asked questions by the journalists as well as Barack Obama's interview, wherein said that minority and ethnic minorities in India are facing a lot of trouble, and if it is not taken control of, India will collapse. So the aftermath of it is Modi coming to India and raising the issues of triple talaq, Pasman Muslims and the UCC. I will ask Mr. Modi, where is the draft? What does he mean by the UCC? What will be the parameters of the UCC? Because we are being governed by Article 29 of the Constitution, which speaks about diversity and pluralism, which are the basic structures of the Constitution.
Absolutely.
What will happen to that?
But shouldn't we do away with certain laws? Do you think there is still room for a law like polygamy, because the Muslim community is the only community that legally can indulge in polygamy? Do you think we still need laws like that?
Welcome back. Thanks a lot for staying with us. We're getting some breaking developments now coming in, and some very unfortunate news that is coming in from Hyderabad once again. This is from Shadnagar, where we're understanding a bike has in fact run over a student. The incident happened yesterday is what we're understanding, which means on the same day when in another area of Hyderabad, you had a car mowing down two women as well. We'll try and get more details, but some very unfortunate news coming in, those visuals that we're putting out for you as well. Episode being reported from an area called Shadnagar in Hyderabad, where, as I pointed out, a bike has run over a school student. Let's also bring in our colleague Swastika Das to try and get more details. Swastika, this makes it the second such case. What are the kind of details that you're picking up?
Well, we're learning that the girl is in stable condition, but she has sustained serious injuries, and pretty evident with the way she was involved in the accident. Yeah. The bike was being recklessly driven by somebody whose identity is yet to be ascertained. But from what we have gathered so far is that the students, while they were walking back from their school, that is when the biker, in a bid to dodge a speed street pole. He goes and he runs over her, and he does not even stop to look back at the girl. The girl there was immediately rescued by the locals and then taken to a nearby hospital while a case has been registered by the police. These are the preliminary details that we are picking up because this incident happened yesterday, that it is only today that the CCTV footage surfaced and then the media sort of picked up the story. And also what is equally alarming is the fact that this incident happened on the very same day where another speeding car ran over two women, killing them on the spot. A third woman in the incident had sustained serious head injuries, undergoing treatment in the hospital. The driver in that case has been arrested, identified as a 19-year-old driver, and he was arrested from the outskirts of Hyderabad. But with regards to this particular case where the biker is running over the school girl, it is yet to be ascertained whether the police have been able to manage to arrest him or not.
Okay, Swastika, we'll have to leave that conversation there. Very unfortunate case coming to light. Keep tracking those developments for us. We have to shift our focus to the other big story that we're tracking, and this is that video that you all must have seen on social media yesterday. This is a story that's coming in from Madhya Pradesh, where a man who's now been identified as an associate of a BJP MLA was seen urinating on a tribal man. Action has now been taken. He, of course, was brought in by police officials. Bulldozer action has been taken against the residents and his accused. His residents, in fact, was brought down earlier in the day. NSA has also been invoked against him. Before we bring in our colleague and try and understand what's happening on the ground, let's take a look at some reactions.
मध्य प्रदेश के सीधी जिले में एक शख्स पर पेशाब करने के मामले में आरोपी परवेश शुक्ला के घर पर इस वक्त राजस्व विभाग की टीम पहुंची है। दरअसल बताया ये जा रहा है कि इस घर पर बुलडोजर चलना है और जिस तरीके से मध्य प्रदेश के गृह मंत्री नरोत्तम मिश्रा ने बयान दिया है कि जो भी अतिक्रमण है या फिर अवैध तरीके से बनाया गया है उस पूरे भाग को तोड़कर गिराया जाएगा, बुलडोजर इस पर चलेगा। और इस बाबत यहाँ पर पहुँचे हैं इस वक्त राजस्व विभाग की टीम पहुँची हुई है जो लगातार इन्वेस्टिगेशन कर रही है, घर के अंदर पहुँची हुई है। इस पूरे मामले में जो आरोपी है, जो मुख्य आरोपी जिसने एक शख्स पर पेशाब किया था और उसका वीडियो वायरल हुआ था, परवेश इस वक्त पुलिस के गिरफ्त में है। पुलिस उससे लगातार पूछताछ कर रही है। तो जिस शख्स ने वीडियो बनाया था दीनदयाल, वो भी पुलिस के गिरफ्त में है।
ऐसा अपराध इसके लिए कठोरतम सजा, कठोरतम शब्द भी कम पड़ता है, लेकिन मैंने निर्देश दिए कि कठोरतम सजा की जाए, कड़ी से कड़ी कार्रवाई की जाए। ऐसी कार्रवाई तो उदाहरण बने, हम उसको किसी भी कीमत पर छोड़ेंगे। तो कोई जाति होती है, ना कोई धर्म होता है और ना कोई पार्टी होती है। अपराधी केवल अपराधी है।
अभी हाल में जनवरी में पंचायत का चुनाव हुआ तो हमारे परिवार से 4 लोग लड़े और हम लोग चुनाव नहीं लड़े, लेकिन उनका साथ नहीं दिए खुल के। उसी परिप्रेक्ष्य में लेके ये हमारे परिवार के लोग हमारे पीछे पड़ गए, हमारे लड़के के पीछे पड़ गए। अब वो जब वीडियो जारी हुआ तो हमारे यहाँ घर में पुलिस आई। इतनी फोर्स आई जैसे कि हम मतलब कितना बड़ा अपराध किया है। हम लोगों के साथ बड़ी ज्यादती हुई, महिलाओं को घर से पकड़ के निकाल दिया गया। हम भाइयों को लेकर थाने चले गए।
जैसा कि सोशल मीडिया में जो उस प्रकरण के आधार पर जो तत्कालिक रूप से थाना बहरी में अपराध पंजीबद्ध किया गया और अपराध पंजीबद्ध करने के पश्चात आरोपी को गिरफ्तार किए जाने बाबत रेगुलर रूप से जो है विभिन्न थानों की हमने पुलिस टीम बनाई थी और रेगुलर रूप से ये अपना जो है क्षेत्र में जो है सूचना संकलन कर रहे थे और विभिन्न जगह पर दबिश दे रहे थे। इसी आधार पर जो है लगभग रात्रि 2 बजे के आसपास जो है आरोपी को जो है हिरासत में लिया गया है और अब उनसे पूछताछ की जाएगी और साथ ही साथ के प्रकरण में अग्रिम विवेचना की जाएगी। देखिए, इनकी राजापुरी और उसके इर्द गिर्द के गाँव में रेगुलर रूप से दबिश चल रही थी इनकी और उसी जगह पर जो है विभिन्न प्रकार के मुखबिरों से सूचना प्राप्त हुई थी, उस आधार पर हमने इसको गिरफ्तार किया।
बहुत दुख का विषय है कि बीजेपी के विधायक प्रतिनिधि ने जिस तरह से एक आदिवासी के ऊपर बड़ी बेशर्मी से पेशाब किया, उसकी रील बनाई, वीडियो बनाई और कोई कार्रवाई नहीं हुई। जब सारी अपोजिशन पार्टी ने मिलकर उसके ऊपर दबाव बनाया तब आपने उस पर NSA लगाई, लेकिन अभी तक वो गिरफ्तार नहीं किया गया। इससे ज़्यादा गंदी और नीच हरकत नहीं हो सकती। वैसे बड़ी बड़ी बातें करते हैं आप गरीब आदमी के लिए, आदिवासी के लिए, क्या यही तरीका है? और बीजेपी के किसी आदमी ने आज तक उसे कंडेम नहीं किया, ना उसे पार्टी से निकाला। मैं इसकी भर्त्सना करता हूँ और आशा करता हूँ कि मुख्यमंत्री को प्रदेश की जनता से माफ़ी मांगनी चाहिए।
Good evening, hello and welcome. You're watching Viewpoint. I'm Anusha Soni. It's a full-blown power